I've been in the Air Force 18 years now, and it changed me. For the good, for the worse, I'll let you decide. But if I had a chance to talk to my 20-year-old self when I joined, this is probably what he would say.
Is this Jody?
Hey, big dog, your back ain't gonna move like it used to.
I'll be honest with you. Your body gonna break. And it's not even because of the Air Force. It's just like getting older, like going to the court, playing basketball. You can't move like you used to when you first joined. One of my main goals throughout my career was to maintain above a 90, preferably above a 95 on my PT test throughout my entire career. That's always been like a goal of mine, like a small flex. So you gotta work out to do that. Working out for 18 years straight, it pays a toll on your body. But one of the things I would tell my younger self is make sure I go to the doctor and get everything documented. My younger self used to be prideful. Like if I had a little ache or something, I'd be like, I'm all right, I'll thug it out. So there's a lot of little ailments that I had when I was younger that I never saw a doctor about because my pride was in the way. So if I could go back and do it all over again, I would have seen a doctor for every little thing just so I can document it. Because when you get out of the Air Force, whether you do 20 years, whether you do 4 years, there comes a point where you got to sit down with someone and they're going to go over all your medical history. They're going to determine if you have any ailments that they could pay you for, which they call disability. Y'all, that disability check is different. You got people making $4,500 a month off of disability, just waking up. This is not a 20-year career. They did 4, they did 6 years. They waking up getting a $4,500 check just for waking up. That's different. That's because they went and documented their health stuff. So if I could talk to my younger self, I wouldn't put my pride in the way. I would go see the doctor. I would tell him every little thing that I had.
Big dog, who you think you is, Barack?
I became a very good communicator throughout my 18 years. I was not always this way. Matter of fact, I can remember when I was in maintenance, my leadership was like, hey, you pretty charismatic. You seem like you talk well. We want you to go read somebody's medal in front of the entire squadron. So they gave me this piece of paper. This was back in the day. I am so nervous. Like you can hear the paper shaking. It's just shaking. You can see my little hands just shaking. And I'm reading this medal. The words get blurry to me. Like everything is all messed up. And when I finished, it was so embarrassing. It was so bad. My leadership was like, hey, don't ever let him go do any type of speaking in front of the squadron again. And so in my mind at that time, it confirmed to me like speaking is not your thing. But as the years go on, they develop you. They send you to all these different leadership courses and they force you to learn how to speak. And this is something that I'm very fortunate about because communication is one of the most powerful things in the world. Something I've learned is that those who cannot communicate get left behind. No matter how good the idea is, no matter how good of a worker you are, if you can't communicate your thoughts, you're gonna get left behind.
Big dog, need to sit your ass down.
I would tell my older self that because the grass is not always greener on the other side. I joined the Air Force not wanting to do maintenance. I remember telling my recruiter the last thing I want to do was maintenance. And then I ended up in a maintenance job. So I made it a goal, like as soon as I'm eligible to cross train, I'm going to switch out of this career field. And I went into an intel career field because they were giving out $90,000 re-enlistment bonuses. And I thought it sounded cooler than saying I worked on a plane. Now for me, intel is not it. Like, I am a people person. I am not like an analytical person. So I go from a job where I'm using my hands, I'm fixing the aircraft to having to think. It was like the biggest game of Where's Waldo. And for me, like that was the most frustrating career field, y'all. I was maintenance smart. Like I was one of the smartest maintainers. But in Intel, I went from like super smart to like, hey bro, you kind of stupid. Like not like literally, but everybody was smarter than me. So I got stuck as staff sergeant. I was an E5 when I went into Intel and I got stuck as an E5. I could not make rank in that career field. And if I had stayed in maintenance, not only would I have enjoyed the job a little bit more, but I know I could have excelled. I could have made maybe 1 or 2 more ranks in a time that I didn't make any rank in Intel.
Big dog, you brown nosing now?
I wouldn't say that I'm brown nosing, but one thing I learned, if y'all don't get anything from this video, this is probably the most important thing to take away. Relationships are more important than your performance. I'm gonna say it again. Relationships are more important than your performance. One thing I learned while serving is that there's like 2 types of currencies in the Air Force. You have your relationships and you have your performance. So you can only sell so much performance. Like you could be the best at your job. And then when it comes time for you to promote, you see somebody else who got the promotion and you like, man, I just busted my ass this whole year and they just overlooked me. And it's the person who was always friendly with everybody. It's the person who was going around shaking everybody's hand, making relationships, talking to everybody. That's the one who got the nod over you. And their performance may not have been as good as yours, but they bought relationships. You sold performance, they bought relationships. And that's super important because no matter how much performance you sell, there becomes a time in your career where you have to start buying relationships. Now, that doesn't mean like you don't have to sell any performance. Like you can't be crap at your job and think that you're just gonna buy relationships and be able to excel. You still gotta be able to do your job good, but you don't have to break your back. I was always told, like growing up in the Black community, and I don't know if this is exclusive to Black communities, but I was always told growing up, when you go inside somebody's house, like a party or something, you say what's up to everybody. And I just learned how to take that same upbringing and bring it into work, make sure I go around, say what's up to everybody, get my face out there, ask people how they doing, how they been, talk to them a little bit, talk about sports, just small things like that. That's like $1 million game, y'all. Like if you don't take anything, take that.
Big dog, why you volunteering for hard stuff?
When I was young, I ain't do no hard stuff. Matter of fact, when somebody would ask, hey, we got this event going on, does anybody want to volunteer? I was always like looking around like, ain't gonna be me. But I started realizing that I'm not growing. That doesn't grow you. Always running away from an opportunity. That you can't grow like that. You're gonna meet a lot of people in your career who tell you like, don't do this, don't do that. If you want a safe path, don't do anything extra. And they're right. If you want a safe path, don't do anything extra. But if you want to excel, if you want to be something more than you are, you got to start looking for some harder opportunities. So I would definitely recommend everybody to do a DSD. That's a developmental special duty. That's when you can go off and learn something outside of your career. In the name, they call it a developmental special duty. And it really develops you. Like me being in maintenance, me being in Intel, I was kind of okay. When I went into recruiting, the development I got as a person, as a leader, like that's second to none. There was no career that gave me that. And the reason why is because when I became a recruiter, I had to learn how to run a business. Recruiting is like running a business. I had to learn marketing. I had to learn the negotiation. I had to learn more communication. I had to learn sales. I had to learn pretty much everything about running a business. And in doing so, I learned that I can do anything. There's no better pressure cooker to put you in than going into a developmental special duty and seeing what comes out the other end.
Big dog, let me hold something.
I was a broke airman. I've told y'all multiple times, I just did stupid stuff with money. Like I prioritized all kind of dumb stuff like Jordan shoes. I used to want big rims on my car. I used to want a dumb sound system. And so every little bit of money that I got, I was trying to figure out a way to spend it. Throughout the years, I started learning that I don't have to spend my money. It's more important for me to keep as much money as possible than it is to spend it. And so I learned some financial tricks. I learned some financial habits to increase my wealth. If I could meet my 20-year-old self again, I would tell him to read these books. Now, I don't know if he'd read it because the type of person I was at 20 probably wasn't going to read that book, but I would force him to. And it would be these books. It'd be Rich Dad, Poor Dad. It'd be Millionaire Next Door. It'd be Magic of Thinking Big. And it'd be the 10 Times Rule. Those 4 books changed my life. And if I can give you any type of life-changing advice, it would be read those 4 books. It'll take you on a whole new journey with your finances.
Big dog, so you smart now.
I won't say that I'm smart, but I will say that I'm more knowledgeable. Knowledge became something that I started seeking as I progressed in my career. So there's a lot of different benefits that can help you seek knowledge, a lot of different education benefits. And if you're not using them, then I would highly recommend you start using your education benefit. And if you're not familiar with how to use those benefits, I got a video on the screen right now that'll break down all the different education benefits of joining the Air Force. Like I always say, I hope this video brought value to you. Stay beautiful, stay classy, and until next time, check me out.